Hello everybody, it is me, EarthBound, and today we are here with another video of Citrus Volume 7. I finally started reading it, and yeah, so the starting of the book, if I were to say the critic in me, even though that I really like Citrus and stuff like that, I've really been enjoying the anime so far, and I've also liked the book even before the anime came out, but the critic in me says the starting of this book is kind of boring, but since already invested into the story and already like it, it was pretty cool seeing what's happening so far. This seems sort of like a side story, either than the main story. I guess that there are consequences because of the stuff that happened in this book, but the starting of this book, you could see that May is to, uh, starting to sort of like not like her decision. Yeah, her decision. She's starting to take back her decision. That's the word that I was looking for. She's starting to take back the decision to say that it was all right for Yuzu to like her because now she's sort of, I guess you could say, like, she's confused about her feelings because at first she was gung ho about it, just joking around. Then she started liking it. Then she started being secretly very perverted about it, especially the grave scene from a couple, you could say, a couple chapters ago, or from the anime a few episodes ago, where she's like, where after Yuzu was trying to kiss her, she decided to hug Mei instead, and was saying that she wanted to love Mei in a family way. But then when Mei went away, she was also very sick from school. But then she was also being very perverted in her head. So then you have no idea what's going on in May's head because we're only following Yuzu's story, so we have no idea what's going on with May. But you can tell that she's very confused so far because especially what happened in Volume 6, and then we see that we see May talk to May's mom, asking May's. We're seeing May talk to Yuzu's mom. You could also say that it's her mom. I got confused right there. They're both the same, so I guess it doesn't really matter. And then May asks Yuzu's mom about why she married her dad, and then afterwards, she starts. Then after that, May's mom asks Yuzu why she's asking and asking if she has a love life, and because she can't say what she wants to say because she doesn't know how Yuzu's mom is gonna react, she starts blushing, saying, "I don't know. I don't know what. I don't think I have a love relationship with anybody." And then so far from the first chapter, we see Yuzu go to summer school because she missed class the last chapter. She missed class because of her sadness because of what her old friends were making fun of her for liking another girl. At least they didn't know that the other girl was her stepsister, and at least she didn't even say that she even had a stepsister. At least that didn't happen. But at least that got resolved last chapter. But if May were to say any of her concerns to Yuzu, bad things might happen. So then we see that Yuzu meets a new girl in summer class. At the back of the book, apparently this girl might find out the secret. Who knows? Once I read the rest of this book. So then apparently this new girl, she sort of looks like a mixture of like like nasty like girls with like nasty hair. Like there was a girl that was like that in the show Gamers, where it was the girl with the long blue hair, but then she cut it and made herself look cute. She also sort of looks like the red haired sleeping like Crystal from Land of the Lustrous. And then she, for some reason, she wears gloves all the way up to her elbows, which is a pretty interesting design, but it's pretty funny. And she seems to be kind of crazy from what I've seen from the first chapter. And her interaction with Yuzu was kind of cute because Yuzu was trying to be nice to her and stuff like that. And there was also a very funny interaction where Yuzu accidentally sat on her because she was sitting in Yuzu's desk. Or I don't know if this is her classroom or a different classroom, but either way, it was pretty funny to see that happen. And then we see that Yuzu gave her a nickname, and then she's just like, I've never had any. And this other girl's just like, I never had any interaction. And to be honest, her name is kind of funny. It's like Shira Suzuran. That's a pretty weird name. But then Yuzu nicknames her Shirapan. Which is, I'm probably not saying that right, but we end the ending of the chapter is pretty interesting with her saying that with her being very observing. That's a pretty weird aspect for someone. She's one of those creepy people where she observes people, whether it's a good thing or not. She's probably just weird about it. But apparently, she smells May on Yuzu. And then next chapter, I have no idea what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting seeing this girl try to figure it out, or whether she's going to become friends with Yuzu or not. But that's what I think so far. And like I said in my last discussion slash review video, I don't know which one I want to call it yet. I'll call it both just in case. But so far the interesting is the story is pretty good, and like I said, I'm probably just gonna be reading this, and then as I read it, at the ending of each chapter, I'll say my thoughts and what I think about it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so it seems that I'm at the halfway point of this book again. I'm pretty much each of these videos are like in 4 parts because I think each book is like 4 chapters. Some chapters are longer, some chapters are shorter, but so far, chapter 2 is really interesting. With May is going through just to I guess like emphasize what Shirapan said, the new character that got introduced. May is going under a metamorphosis. Like, what a weird way to say that, but May is just changing so much. I guess you could say that she's opening up more because right before she locked her heart after her dad left in the past, but then once she made up with her dad, it's just like, what should I do now? Once I don't have the locks anymore, what am I supposed to do? So then she's like just going through this. So then because of what Shirapan said, Yuzu decided to do what Shirapan does, where she's going to creepily or just naturally just observe people, stare at them in order to figure out what they are, how they tick and stuff like that. She ends up doing it during dinner time. The mom's just like, "What are you doing?" And then the Yuzu's mom walks away, and then May just goes to feed her food and stuff like that. And during this interaction, you can see there's a couple of times in this chapter where Yuzu's eyes turned into Shirapon's eyes. I don't know if that is an artistic choice or if that happened randomly or if that's something that the author thought of, but it seemed like a pretty cool idea that her eyes sort of changed a little bit. That could just be me, but that's what I think. I don't know if any other people thought of that, but actually, I just turned the page after that moment when they're feeding when May is feeding Yuzu, but they gave the bear. I think his name is. I already forgot his name. His name is like Regaron or something like that. I'm probably saying it wrong. I said it correct the last time, but the bear has a big like meat. He has a big meat plate. What did they just throw that away, or does the mom eat it? Like who the hell? Or is that like a stuffed meat in front of the bear? I'm going off of a tangent, but I just had to say that. So then May was acting weird with her feeding her food, but then May also went into bath with her. I don't know. I don't really think that's weird if you're like the same gender as someone. I guess it's more natural for girls. I don't really see two older. I don't see two teenage brothers going in the shower together unless they're super close. But I don't think guys don't usually do that. I mean, I guess in shower rooms they usually do that, but that's like cultural thing or like yeah, sort of like a small cultural like community thing. But yeah, like mostly girls do it a lot more than guys do it. I guess it's because guys are more private than girls are, but I guess sometimes some girls are probably like that. But May went into the shower with her, and then we saw that. I don't know. You would have to check this too. I can't be the only one. But if you look at her eyes when they're both sitting down in one of the pages in the shower, Yuzu's eyes look like Shirapon's eyes. Like that just looks like it. Then they're both like having like very like a thing, and then after that, May and Yuzu are about to go to bed. But and then Yuzu asks May why May's acting so weird with her acting so I guess you could say like a girlfriend like to her, and then May is just like that she doesn't understand her feelings and that she's just doing what comes naturally, which is something that happens. Sometimes we do things, our body do things without our mind comprehending what we're doing. Like sometimes you'll like if you miss someone or if you or something like that, and then you like go to hug them, and then they're like, "Whoa, why did you hug me?" And then you're just like, "Oh, I just like it's like you do stuff without thinking." So then May's trying to do this, and then Yuzu tries to like change the situation because May wanted to try to go on her more. So then Yuzu had to stop the situation because she was getting too freaked out. I guess her heart can't keep up. Can't Yuzu's heart can't keep up, and then the ending of the chapter is just Yuzu catching up with Shirapan. Shirapan ends up calling Yuzu Yuzupan, which is pretty cute with her doing that and all. I guess like them becoming friends is a good thing because that's what Shirapan needs because she's so awkward and so creepy and weird that if she had more friends she would probably be more natural with people. So then she probably likes Yuzu doing this to her. So I think that Yuzu might be getting more of a harem now because I'm pretty sure that the harem is like the main relationship is of course Yuzu and Mei, but then Harumi kind of likes her, Matsuri likes her, but you can't really tell if Matsuri really likes her. She might just be confused, and then Now we have Shirapon, and then apparently the groupie girl that we saw in the last chapter that got a nosebleed from Yuzu messing around with Harumin. She has a slight crush on Yuzu too, even though she's a background character. But I guess all of that's happening, and then I got confused at the ending of the chapter because because we have it that Yuzu is talking on the phone with Harumi on her way to school, and then they're talking about the festival, like the cultural festival. I guess it isn't really a cultural festival. I guess it's one of those festivals that Japan has, and then it skips in time. It goes from them talking on their way home to, oh look, it's the festival. I'm just like, what? Like I got confused. I was just like, is this like, am I missing a page? But it's a book, and even if I looked online, it probably isn't missing a page. Just like a big skip in time. So then before that happens, before the end of the chapter, we see all of the character. We see Matsuri hanging out with Harumin and a couple other girls at a pool. I think. Wait, the vice president is also there. Wow, that's a lot of people. But no, I don't know. I think it's just that. But seeing them in their swimsuits it was honestly pretty cute. Oh, I didn't know that. But I'm looking at the page right now. I like looking at the pictures, but Matsuri is wearing like a necklace for her cell phone. I think I've seen that before, but it's a pretty cool idea. But then we end the festival. I mean, we end the chapter with them all at the festival, all in their yukatas, which look very cute. And then Shirapon freaks out. I honestly can't wait to see what happens next, to see what kind of shenanigans go on in the next chapter. But that's what I think so far. Okay, then. So I guess that happened. So at the ending of the chapter, we see that apparently someone saw them, and it's a shadowy figure. It's probably gonna end up. I didn't skip ahead, but it's probably gonna end up being Shirapon. Like there's like she like in the picture in the pages before, like she like started walking off into the distance and looked like she noticed something, so something happened. So from the last chapter, we see them all hanging out again, and then of course May is trying to be very pushy. I noticed this as I'm reading the chapter. May is becoming Yuzu. Like this whole entire time she's been, especially in, I think book 5, she was saying that she liked Yuzu because of the way that she is, because she thinks first, and then I mean she acts first and then thinks later. But then May thinks first and then acts later. So then she's like the opposite of Yuzu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So then she wants to be more like Yuzu, so then she's trying to act without thinking, or she's using her heart more than she is using her head. And then Yuzu is just like, you should be using your head, you should be using your head, because like as they're walking in their yukatas in the festival, Mei decides to hug Yuzu like really close and then like lean against her shoulder, and then Yuzu's just like, this is what couples do, this is what sisters do in front of their friends. So then, but you could, I guess they're not using their brain too much, but because like if you were to be super smart about it, if you were to really trick people, then you could just say like, we're just sisters, it's okay for us to hug and stuff like that, which is weird. So then we also see that Shirapon found out about the necklaces, but she didn't see the ring. At least she didn't think about that. And then it seems that Shirapon might have feelings for May. Uh, it could be a thing, but apparently she has a thing for May, from what we could deduce from this episode, not manga chapter. I'm getting confused because of the anime, but especially from the last chapter, you could tell that Shirapon sort of has slight blushes that she's having. I also noticed from this book and the last book, I never noticed that when characters are blushing, they also the manga artists also put blushes over the ears too. I guess it goes from the top of the nose, under the eyes, and over the ears. Actually, I guess your ears do turn red. I've never actually seen someone when they blush. I don't think I've ever actually seen someone when they blush. I need to see that. I need to like find pictures of people blushing, because apparently I've blushed before in the past. People have said that before, but I have no idea I don't know what I look like when I blush. So seeing them blush, seeing characters blush, or seeing, I think I've ever seen a human blush before. I'm exactly like May. I don't know emotions. So then, so then afterwards, we also see that Yuzu starts ignoring May because she wants to try to throw off Shirapon from figuring out that they're together. And there's this page where they're playing the festival games, which I've been to like carnivals and stuff like that, but I guess that's our version of festivals. But there's this like spot where I see like spoons in this Jello, and I'm just like, do they? Is that a game? Picking spoons out of Jello, like, or is that them eating food? I just got very confused. But at least I know the shooting game. That one's pretty obvious. And at first, I thought that Matsuri was Yuzu in one picture, but she was wearing like a mask over her head. But most of this chapter was pretty good. And then Yuzu got a crepe and she wanted to share it. I mean, May got a crepe and she wanted to share it with Yuzu. but then Yuzu already got the grapes, and then she started feeling even more sad. This chapter, I can't lie, I started tearing up a little bit because Mei was starting to feel very lonely and sad because Yuzu was trying to throw off Shirapon's Shirapon's like curiosity towards them trying to be together, but then Mei wants to be with Yuzu, but then Yuzu is trying to distract Shirapon, so then now Mei is super lonely and it's just super sad seeing her that way. It's just you're just like, damn man, like you can't keep it secret forever. You could tell that she's being very Mei is being very confused because she wants to not keep it a secret anymore, like because of the way that she's been acting. I can't wait to see how the last chapter is. But yeah, it's super interesting and seeing them Mei wants to kiss Yuzu. Yuzu accepts the kiss. They both kiss, but then Mei says that it's not enough, which is wow. Like you could definitely tell, like her loneliness is going like a high pact with how Yuzu is too, because Yuzu is so crazy that she needs to have air or else she can't control herself. And now Mei can't control herself because she's been controlling herself since like I said in my last review, the graveyard scene. She's been controlling herself so much, so it's hard to like try to control yourself. So I think I'm gonna have to agree with the author at the ending of Volume 7, where he or she, I don't really know, but says that he or she gets really mushy about these two. I get really mushy about Yuzu and Mei too. They're pretty cool and pretty cute with how they react. And the last chapter of Volume 7, it's pretty interesting. I saw online when I was looking for a picture because I can't really take a picture of like the book myself because it looks weird with how distortion the picture looks. But I looked for a thumbnail for my last video, and I just took a picture that I found online from one of the chapters because you're able to read chapters online, and so then I took a picture from that. I'm also probably gonna take a picture from this one online, but I saw that there's more chapters, and I have the books, and the next book doesn't come out until September, so I am probably gonna catch up on the book online instead of in real life. So for the last chapter, this chapter is pretty interesting. Apparently my thoughts from before were correct. Shirapon has a crush on Yuzu. I mean, has a crush on Mei, not Yuzu. And so Shirapon has a crush on Mei, and found out what that Mei kiss Yuzu. So then we also found out that, and apparently, it's funny that Shirapon finds Mei as a godlike figure, but then she's friends with Yuzu, and apparently she really. I really like her character. I hope that she doesn't have any bad motives as Matsuri does, where I hope that she really loves being friends with Yuzu and being close to Mei at the same time. But then we also found out that Mei apparently rejected Shirapon, so I hope. But she's still, because of the side story at the ending of the chapter. We saw that funny chapter of Mei hanging out with Shirapon at their house, like figuring out how to work together. And then Yuzu is now changing. Yuzu changes everyone. She's the main character that everyone needs because she's changing Shirapon to act more like a normal girl. Because that's the same thing that Yuzu was having a problem with Mei. She's like, life lives too long. You don't need to have all these strict regulations. Because you can have rules, just that you don't need to be so strict all the time in life. And you can't like be like Yuzu when you're like in your 40s. You can't act like a teenage girl, like thinking that like there's nothing for you, like thinking that there's nothing. Every thinking that you can do whatever you want. It's better to do it when you're a kid because at least you can do whatever you want to an extent. There are still rules, at the but just seeing that she rejected her, and then seeing that Yuzu was being very sad because she left Mei hanging. We also saw that after Yuzu left when once they kissed, that Mei was sort of like clenching her heart because she was very trying to relax herself. That reminds me of a moment from Parasite where uh, where Shinichi couldn't control his heart from wanting to tell people his secret, but then Migi like would tell him to control his heart in order to keep the secret. So I guess it's very hard for these two, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next chapter. But we also got to see Shirapon cry. But then she got rejected, and then we also got to see them leave the festival. The festival was really quick, I gotta say, but I guess it is quick with how it is and stuff like that. But then Yuzu got scared because of what because Matsuri, because everyone knew that Shirapon and Mei were all alone, so they didn't. So Mei, I mean Yuzu didn't know how what was gonna happen if Mei was gonna go back to the way that she was before, where she would kiss other girls without Yuzu knowing and stuff like that. But just seeing that was pretty cool and stuff like that. But then we also saw that since Matsuri like made like told Yuzu about them being together would result in them kissing, Yuzu starts bashing her head against a tree and shaking the tree, so like that, which is pretty cool. And we also saw a moment where we saw where Harumin was teasing Matsuri to not pick on Yuzu, and they could potentially be a cuppy a cuppy a couple. That's a very short term to say that. That made me a little bit embarrassed right there, but then yeah, they could potentially be a couple, but it's not likely, but it could be. But then after that, the ending of the chapter was Yuzu confronting Mei about what happened, and Mei wasn't saying anything. But then Yuzu's just like, "You can't do this again. You can't do this." And then she hugs Mei and then starts kissing her, and then Mei doesn't want to do it, but at the same time she wants to do it. And then Mei says just kissing and not to do anything else, but then Yuzu does a reversal on Mei and says exactly what Mei said the last chapter where Mei kissed Yuzu and then once Yuzu wanted to leave to go back to everyone else, Mei said it's not enough, and then Yuzu walked away because she didn't want to kiss anymore or do anything too drastic. But then after that, now Yuzu is doing it to Mei, where she's saying that it's not enough to just kiss, and now they need to do a full out makeout section, and apparently they actually do it because there's a little like a section at the ending where apparently Mei says, "I suppose that we should do this," and then after that, the ending of the chapter is just Shirapon saying that she did see Yuzu and Mei kiss and that she's okay with it, and she's also okay with being rejected as long as Yuzu continues being her friend, which is pretty cool. And then we also see Shirapon smile, and she looks like a normal girl. She doesn't have her creepy eyes anymore. And that's a pretty cool smile. I really like that smile. I might even use that as a thumbnail because it looks really cute and it looks really cool. I really like the character, and apparently she's a part of a. It reminded me of Raku's family from Nisekoi, where she's a part of a mafia family. But yeah, and then we also got a cliffhanger at the ending with Matsuri is going to try to do what Yuzu sees in Yuri manga, because apparently Matsuri is looking at a Yuri manga and she wants to do what she wants to try to be with Yuzu again, which is going to be interesting for the next chapter. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed this review slash discussion of what I thought about Volume 7. Volume 7 was pretty good, pretty interesting. I love the festival. I love the new character, Shirapon, being introduced. She's a pretty cool, pretty interesting character. And the short stories really advanced the story and stuff like that. I especially loved me and Yuzu wearing rings and stuff like that to commemorate the relationship and stuff like that. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this review. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't like this review slash discussion of me just play by play talking about the chapter, and also telling you my thoughts of what I thought about it, and my reaction to them. So yeah, see you guys in the next video, and bye. See you next chapter.